Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning back in once again to Queen Ahmadiyyah TV presents Beyond the Realm. So tonight I'm going to be discussing some things that happened among the Amish community. Now, I know some of you probably never even thought that something paranormal or crazy would happen with the Amish people because they're such devout religious people. Remember, they don't even use modern day things most of the time, right? So with that all being said, I'm going to talk about an Amish man who was supposedly according to some, they say he was in fact possessed by the devil. Now, some people think he just had mental issues. Some people say he was actually possessed by the devil. And from what he did, sounds like he was possessed by the devil to me. But before I delve into that, let's talk about another Amish story. The story of what they call the haunted Crybaby Bridge. Okay? And thank you all for tuning back in. Let me see who I have in here. Okay. Echo Bella. Thank you for tuning in. Silent Dean Katia. All right. So let's go ahead and get into it, people, because this is going to be juicy. Okay. Now, there's a legend about an Amish family that consisted of a husband, a wife, and their 2 infant daughters. Says they were coming across a bridge at night when their carriage was struck by an oncoming car. Because many of you know that the Amish don't drive cars. They, in fact, use horses and carriages like they did in the old days. Now, their carriage was struck by an oncoming car. When authorities arrived, they found the husband's body lying on the side of the bridge. They discovered the wife sitting in the middle of the bridge, clutching her 2 dead babies in her arms. Can you imagine how sad that is? Now, while the legend doesn't say what happened to the wife, she was the only one to survive the accident. And it is said that if you walk to the middle of this bridge and stand completely still, you will be able to hear not 1, but 2 babies crying. Many people have told of these encounters, and that's why they call it the haunted Crybaby Bridge or the crying bridge. Now, all the variations of the legend say that in order to hear the baby cry, you must walk to the center of the bridge and stand still. Remain completely motionless. Don't make a sound. Some variations include that you may need to walk to the center of the bridge alone, or that the baby can only be heard by a young woman who stands out there by herself, supposedly because the ghost baby, will mistake the woman for their mother. Now, located in on Geisinger Road in Shiloh, Ohio, that's where the bridge is. Geisinger Road runs between Ohio 13 and Rome South Road. Now, the bridge is located closer to the intersection with Rome South Road. Now, before we begin, let me just point out that this particular bridge is a little tricky to find because the sides of it are nothing more than guardrails, okay? In fact, despite the fact that there is, or was the last time, that people visited, basically it was a 1-lane bridge with a sign alert that sign alerting you to the fact that there's a bridge approaching. So that's how it's like obstructed from view. So they have a sign telling you that the bridge is coming up. Now, if you're not careful and you're driving at night, especially, you could miss it. Hardly the type of bridge that would become known as Crybaby Bridge, but it did. Now, regarding the legend itself, this was a bit unique in that it involves you being able to hear 2 crying babies. It is also unique in that it is the only Ohio Crybaby Bridge so far that involves the Amish people. Couple of things to note. Well, first, several online sites list the bridge as being in Shelby, Ohio. Now, Shelby is approximately 6 or 7 miles to the west of this bridge. Apparently, people's inability to find the bridge in Shelby, the city, led to some now claiming that it's located in Shelby County. Several websites do currently list the Crying Baby Bridge as being in Shelby County, but it's actually in the city of Shelby. Now, something else to point out is that several posts in online forums misspell Amish, which is spelled A-M-I-S-H, as spelling it O-M-I-S-H. And because the internet is a wonderful place where no one bothers to fact check anything except for the fake fact checkers, right? Well, that has morphed into the new variation of the legend, which the last name of the family that was killed on the bridge is, guess what? Amish, spelled O-M-I-S-H. Okay? That's quite a coincidence. Now, concerning the Amish angle of this legend, recently someone ran across something that, while not directly related to the bridge, was intriguing none the same. You see, the TV show called Amish Haunting. Now, this is a real show, people. It's on the ID channel, okay? Amish Haunting. Now, that TV show ran an episode featuring a story called The Crybaby Bridge, about the haunted bridge in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Now, since the show opens with a disclaimer that states in part that the following stories are based on Amish oral stories or histories of the supernatural, and it also features a ghost story involving hearing an Amish baby crying. This could be ground zero for Amish-related crybaby bridge tales. Now, the story is based on an actual event which took place in the autumn of 1994. Members of the Amish community, they refer to the story as a legend that has been passed around in the Amish community for years. They say one of the great tragedies in this history of their Amish community happened in Lancaster. Now, according to legend, in 1994, an Amish mother by the name of Lena was wrongfully accused of an extramarital affair and then shunned by the Amish community. Because, you know, they don't play that. You're not supposed to be out here fornicating and all those things, or committing adultery, any of those things, right? So she goes out and she gets caught having an extramarital affair. She returns home that night. She wraps her infant son in a blue blanket and carries him out to the bridge, where she jumps to her death, still holding the infant in her arms. Neither Lena's body nor the son's were ever recovered. All that is found is the baby's blue blankets and Lena's head covering that she wore. Both are recovered from the water underneath the bridge. Now, mind you, this isn't the bridge in Ohio. This is in Lancaster. It's a whole nother bridge, a whole nother story. But they both involve bridges, babies that died, and crying babies. Okay? Or the ghost of crying babies. So the following night, after she jumped to her death with her child in her arms, her husband, David, is awakened by the sounds of a baby crying, coming from somewhere inside of his house. And he eventually encounters Lena's ghost holding the infant son. Now, around the same time, people began hearing the sound of the baby crying at the bridge that Lena jumped from. So at the same time, the husband's hearing this crying that woke him up out of his sleep, and he sees the ghost of his wife and the child. People crossing the bridge are hearing a crying baby as well. So the legend says. Now, because of this, the Amish began referring to it as Crybaby Bridge. So anyway, the story goes on to give great detail as to what happened to a group of Amish teenagers, all in Rumspringa, who decided to go out to the bridge one night to see if they could hear the baby crying. One of the teens claimed they wanted to go to the bridge because they said it was an evil place where Amish rumors claimed you could conjure the dead. And I'm sure you don't need to guess what group these children and teenagers belong to. Now, according to the teens' interviews, the ones that were interviewed, they said that the ritual that had to be conducted went as follows. Okay? You know this stuff. You know this our stuff paranormal. I've been to Lancaster, Pennsylvania many times, especially during Christmas times. Lots of events there near to Hershey, Pennsylvania amusement park. Okay, woke one. All right. Now, here's what they say you have to do for the ritual, people. Oh, shoot, Queen, need mods over here too. Not to worry, I'll add some tonight. If we have any trolls, I'll just block them when I go through the chats. Okay, so it says you have to be there at midnight. Take your car keys out of the ignition and place them on the hood of the car, and then walk around the car saying, "Cry, baby, cry, baby." Eventually, the ghost baby will reach for the keys, and you will see the keys move. This is what they say. Now, interestingly enough, while there is a very detailed ritual, they say you do it to make the baby move the keys, not to actually hear the cry. In fact, while the climax of the story involves all of the teenagers hearing a baby cry, there is no mention of what, if anything, had to be done in order to hear it. So maybe once the baby moves the keys, it cries on its own. Who knows? But as mentioned, there is no direct correlation between this story and the crying bridge, other than the fact that it involves the ghost of Amish babies. They are two different stories, but they have some similarities. But if you're calling, I'm sorry, hold on, lost my place. Okay, so in fact, the show on the ID channel called Amish Hauntings strongly hints that we're supposed to believe the ghost of the dead Amish mother, Lena, somehow managed to spirit them away, pun intended, no less, managed to spirit them away. And as the episode ends, they just show, you know, that there's others out there that night, plainly stating no one knows for sure what happened to them. I'm laughing at Kendall's comments. So the person who wrote this article says, "I don't know what else to say except I am never going to that bridge again. I'm never going back. I didn't hear the baby cry or even see anything, but the whole place just feels creepy. You're out there in the middle of nowhere, but you feel like there are people all around you staring at you. It just feels creepy, and I don't ever want to feel that feeling again. It was like at any second, someone or something was going to come running up out of the fields to get you." So that was spooky. But so now let's talk about this man that they say was possessed by the devil. No less. And as I'm preparing this story, gathering my receipts, everyone please like, and share the video. Like and share the video, people. Now, an Amish man who beat his wife to death and cut out her intestines sought help from a chiropractor hours before the slaying and was given a scalp massage and told to simply drink molasses. That's what the chiropractor testified to in court. So, say what now? They say that this man beat his wife to death and cut out her intestines, completely disemboweled her. He went to see a chiropractor first and asked for help, and the chiropractor just massaged his scalp and told him, "So now there you are now. Just massage your scalp. Just go on home, drink you some good old molasses, and everything will be fine by the morning." So that's what happens. So anyway, Edward Gingrich, this is a man who committed this heinous crime. Now, his attorney said that Gingrich thought he was possessed by the devil, and he suffered from these severe headaches. Neither the prosecution nor the defense disputes the fact that Gingrich killed his wife, Katie, on March 18th of 1993. Her body was found in the northwestern Pennsylvania farmhouse that they owned. Now, Gingrich was arrested while walking down a country road with his 3-year-old daughter and 4-year-old son. His 5-year-old son ran to the uncle for help. Defense attorney Donald Lewis was trying to convince the Crawford County jury that Gingrich was too mentally ill to know what he was doing. Gingrich has pleaded, he pleaded innocence by reason of insanity. Now, they say Ed cried out for help to his father, to his wife, to his brothers, saying that he was getting worse and that the headaches were getting worse. that God had deserted him and that he was possessed by the devil. Lewis said this during opening statements at Gingrich's trial. Now, Assistant District Attorney Doug Ferguson said Gingrich knew what he was doing. That's what he said. He knew what he was doing. He said it was a horrible killing, but that doesn't mean it was done by someone who was insane. Now, Gingrich told police that he and his wife had argued that day, the same day of the killing, over whether he would go with the family to a friend's wedding. Now, how do you figure that someone arguing about a wedding leads to murder and disembowelment? Please explain. He says, they say he told them that he had been angry with her and that he knew he had killed her and he knew his children were present. This is what he said after the crime. Said he knew that he killed her and his children were present. So the chiropractor, Merritt Terrell, said that he saw Gingrich for 6 months and even treated him a few hours before the murder. He testified that he gave Gingrich a scalp massage and molasses, but didn't explain the reasoning behind his treatments. I'm sorry. Why would a chiropractor give you molasses? I'm just curious. I mean, I can understand the scalp massage because clearly he was suffering from severe headaches. So you can massage a person's scalp and their temples and the back of their neck and all of that to get rid of a headache. But what's up with the molasses? I'm just curious. So anyway, Gingrich also received conventional medical treatment. Now, he had been hospitalized twice for mental problems, most recently for 10 days in 1992. Both times he was given medication, but was not taking any at the time of the murder. The victim's mother, Emma Shetler, said Gingrich was acting unusual with the family or when they visited just a few weeks prior to the killing. Gingrich, age 28, was wearing his handmade Amish clothing, including a navy blue vest and pants. When his mother-in-law testified, he slumped forward and seemed to be hiding his face. Gingrich's brother Daniel testified that he rode a horse to his brother's home after being told of trouble by his nephew on March the 18th. Daniel Gingrich said he found his brother sitting on his wife's body in the kitchen and then went to the neighbor's house to call the police. While he was gone, Gingrich undressed the body and cut out her intestines, according to police. Now the question is, Queen's so pretty cute. Thank you, Alvin, for your kind words. Peace, love, and blessings to you. Now the question is, why did he do all of this? Was he in fact crazy? Was he possessed by the devil? Who knows? But it sounds to me like demonic possession. Absolutely. If it wasn't the devil, it was clearly a demon, as far as I'm concerned. Now, here's another article about the information or the incident. Edward Gingrich, born 1966, died January the 14th of 2011, was an Amish man from Rockdale Township, Crawford County, Pennsylvania, who was convicted of manslaughter in the 1993 death of his wife, Katie. He was the first Amish person to be convicted of a homicide. He was said to be somewhat of a rebel to the Amish community and their way of life from an early age, they say. And many of the others in their community were apprehensive of the marriage between Ed and Katie. He spent a lot of time in the wood shop, becoming increasingly interested in the limited machinery that the Amish allowed themselves to operate, as well as interacting with non-Amish people known as the English. That's what they call regular white people. They call them English. And they don't like to interact with them, clearly for their own reasons. Now, the belief was that, and they also don't interact with black people. Just let's get that for the record, okay? But anyway, the belief was that an unwavering, faithful woman would be a good influence on the troubled man, and so the marriage went ahead. Now, after the wedding and the birth of their son, Gingrich became increasingly depressed. Through the wood shop he worked in, he befriended a non-Amish man called Dave Lindsay, who told him that unless he renounced Amish faith and became a born-again Christian like Lindsay, he would be going to hell. Gingrich's mental state continued to deteriorate, and eventually he began hallucinating and had a psychotic break. This scared the Amish community to the point of contacting 911 for help, which they don't do. So they had to be scared, clearly. Now, Gingrich was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and was given medication to ease his symptoms. His medication eased Gingrich's hallucinations, but made him into a zombie-like state that he disliked, and even eventually he stopped taking the doses. Now, his state of mind continued to deteriorate. Lindsay, among other evangelists who visited Gingrich at the wood shop, lectured him about renouncing his faith and led him to believe that he was being confined and almost held captive by his wife, Katie. There are reports that he began to associate her with the devil. On March the 18th of 1993, Gingrich entered his home's kitchen where Katie was working. He first punched her in the face. And so, hold on, people, pop-ups. He punched her in the face, knocking her to the ground. Katie yelled for her 6-year-old son, who was in the room at the time, told him to run and get help. The little boy ran as fast as he could. He ran a mile to his uncle's home. But by the time the man arrived at the scene of the crime, Katie was long dead. Seeing his brother standing beside her gruesome body covered in her own blood, the man feared for his own life and fled from the house to a nearby English family, where he called 911. Now, when Assistant Fire Chief and EMTs Andy McLaughlin arrived on the scene was horrific. Gingrich had beaten Katie to death, had beaten her to death, taken the time to put on heavy high-top boots. Listen to this. He killed her, beat her to death, and then he stopped and said, hold up, I need my good boots for this, because I'm going all the way in, people. So he puts on his good high-top boots and stops Katie's head open, her skull, until she's left unrecognizable. Not only that, Gingrich had removed all of her internal organs and piled them inside or beside her body. Can you imagine coming to the scene and viewing this? He not only beat this poor woman to death, he put on his good boots and stomped her in her skull until she was unrecognizable. Then, with medical precision, he removed all of her organs, intestines included, and piled them right next to her body, for good measure, no less. Now, Kendall said, freak. Woke one says, wow, absolutely, right? I'm shocked that I'm hearing this. So, when Assistant Fire Chief and EMTs Andy McLaughlin came to the scene, it was horrific. And they talked about how he put on his high boots and stomped her until her skull was unrecognizable, then piled her internal organs next to her body. Now, in recordings of Gingrich's police interrogation, he can be heard saying, for some reason, I think we could still save her. Is that what he said? You could still save her after you stomped her skull in and cut out all of her organs and set them beside her? He thought he could still save her, he says. So, after his trial, Gingrich was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter, but mentally ill. There's always that mental illness card to be played, people. He was sentenced to a maximum term of 2.5 years. Say what now? He was sentenced to a minimum term of 2.5 years and a maximum of 5 years. That's all he got, people. 5 years was the minimum sentence, they say. A maximum of 5 years with credit for time served since his May 19th, 1993 incarceration. Hence, Ed would be eligible for parole by late 1995, just a few years later. Gingrich was denied his first bid for parole in December of 1995. However, On March 19th of 1998, at the age of 34 and living and having served his full sentence, he was released from the state correctional institution at Mercer, Pennsylvania. He died in 2011, and I don't know how. But they say, damn, I'm going to become Amish to get that sentence easy. That's not going to happen for you, honey. That's not going to be what they do for black people, okay? And they're not going to let any black people be Amish, no less. But with that all being said, isn't that crazy? Hold on, let me see if I can find something real quick, people. Hold on. Okay, let me see if I can find this really quick. Everyone, please get the likes up. Listen to this. Listen to this, people. You know, for years, they have said that there is no demonic possession. They have deemed people who are supposedly possessed by demons, they've deemed them as schizophrenics, right? But what if these people are really possessed by demons? And in fact, there's a psychologist who says that that's exactly what it is. Hold on, let me see if I can find this article that I read a few years ago. And by the way, I studied demonology. I've studied it for years. And I absolutely think that anyone who has multiple personalities and they're saying that you have schizophrenia and those things, I absolutely believe it's demonic possession. That's what I absolutely believe. It's the same exact symptoms. Okay? Same exact symptoms. Hold on, people. I think this may be it. Let's see if this is it, people. Spiritual possession and mental health. I don't think that's it. Hold on. Let me see something. It says in Western societies, demonology survived as an explanation of mental health problems right up until the 18th century, when witchcraft and demonic possession were common explanations for psychopathology. Nevertheless, as I have described above, demonic and spirit possession is still a common explanation for mental health problems in some less developed areas in the world, especially where witchcraft and voodoo are still important features of the local culture, such as in Haiti and some of the areas of Western Africa. The continued adoption of demonic possession as an explanation for mental health problems, especially in relation to psychotic symptoms, is often linked to local religious beliefs. Okay, so whoever wrote this article from Psychology Today, they're clearly a psychologist and they don't think that the two have anything to do with one another. But I find that interesting since so many people are Christians on this planet And in the Bible, it clearly says that there's a such thing as demonic possessions, and it even says that Jesus encountered a man who was possessed by many demons. And he asked him, "What is your name?" And the man replied, "My name is Legion," or "I am Legion, for we are many." Meaning that there were many demons, right? So that all being said, let's see if I can find this. Hold on. Let me see if I can log into this site really quick. See if I can log into this site, because I have a subscription with these people. Okay, now they're going to let me read it. All right. All right. At least I hope they are. Okay, let's see here. Hold on, people. I don't know why this thing's acting crazy. I clearly have a subscription with them. They charged me a whole $10 for it just days ago. Hold on. Let me see if I can find this article somewhere else. So here's basically the thing, right? Psychiatrists or psychologists have learned to work with exorcists, okay? Priests, usually from the Catholic Church, who perform a ritual to try to drive out demons. Some psychologists have actually decided or started to work with them because they feel that some of these people, though they may have mental issues, some people are actually possessed by demons. All right, and this is absolutely true in my opinion, because yes, there absolutely are some people who suffer from bipolar disorder, manic depressive, and things like that. But some people are possessed by demons, and it's usually the people who they claim are schizophrenic, because you see, they say these people have multiple personalities, and being demonically possessed makes you take on different personalities. Now, here's an article called "How to Differentiate Demonic Possession from Schizophrenia." So let's talk about it, people. This was written by Pastor Stephen Waterhouse. He's also written a book called "Strength for His People, a Ministry for Families with the Mentally Ill." Now, they say schizophrenia can strike anyone, including individuals from deeply religious homes. The concept of devils, heaven, and hell is part of Catholicism. Demonic influence is rare, but an integral belief of many. And many Christians who research schizophrenia wonder about demonic possession. They ask questions like, "Is my relative possessed?" Now, the New Testament mentions demons over 100 times, including in the book of Matthew, chapter 8, verse 29. Also in Matthew, chapter 10, verse 1, and John 16:11. Even those who have other beliefs or choose to remain skeptical still must relate to Christians who do believe in the supernatural. Many Christians who endure a family member's battle with schizophrenia about involvement with a loved one and deserve real answers. So the Bible itself makes a distinction between disease and possession in Mark 6:13. Thus, Christian theology should recognize the difference. Now, at least 4 factors differentiate schizophrenia from demonic possession as described per the Bible. Okay, the first factor is, let's talk about it. They say these factors can be helpful when trying to determine if an individual is in fact possessed or just has mental health issues. So there's a list of 6 factors. The first one is attraction to versus aversion to religion. Demons want nothing to do with Christ. Conversely, people with NBD are often devoutly religious. So with that all being said, basically, if someone is suffering from mental illness, they can still, have their attachment to Christ, God, or whatever religious deity that they worship. But a demon don't want no parts of it. Okay? They don't want no parts of it. They can't even say the name Jesus. And if you said in front of them, a person who's demonically possessed, trust me, I know for facts, they will start laughing at you. Let me tell you a story. There was a person that I know personally years ago. This person was possessed by a demon. This person was talking in a different language that they never even studied. This person was taken to a mental facility, and people from the family went to visit them, and they reached out 2 of their fingers because one of the family members brought a Bible and was trying to read the Lord's Prayer to them and asking them to repeat it. They could not repeat it. They could not repeat it. And even the medical staff there knew that they were possessed because they called in a chaplain, and a nun showed up. And when the nun showed up and walked into the room, the person was lying flat on their back with their eyes closed, and all of a sudden their eyes opened and they sat straight up as soon as the nun's presence was among them. They had an aversion to the Lord's Prayer and to the Bible. They took 2 fingers, their forefinger and their middle finger, and they grabbed the Bible and tried to snatch it from this man's hand, a grown man who was pretty strong, mind you. They were trying to take him. This was a woman trying to take the Bible with just 2 fingers, practically pulling it out of his hands. That much strength in just 2 fingers? Sounds like demons to me. They give you superhuman strength. But anyway, let me go on, because number 2, the second reason they say is irrational speech and rational speech. You see, in New Testament accounts involving demons, the demons spoke in a rational manner. Untreated people with schizophrenia often speak in nonsense and jump rapidly between unrelated topics. So speaking crazy, mumbling and muttering to themselves when you have mental illness, but still talking with a good frame of mind and very intellectually, and in fact, using different languages they never even learned when they have demons. The third reason you can tell the difference is ordinary learning versus supernatural knowledge. Demons in the New Testament could speak through people to convey knowledge that otherwise would not or could not have been known to the possessed individuals. Like they can start telling you your business that you never told them. They can tell you what you did yesterday, what you ate for breakfast this morning, who you are messing around with, whose husband you're sleeping with. They can tell you all kinds of things about your personal business, and you didn't tell them or nobody else, and you're thinking, how do they know this? Oh, it's demons, because demons are clairvoyants. A mentally ill person couldn't do those things. The next difference is normal versus occult phenomena. There is an aspect to demon activity that is just plain spooky, such as poltergeist, levitation, trances, telepathy. They'll engage in these things. Now, these have an impact on others in the room, not just the possessed person. They can not only levitate, they can make you levitate. That's demonic. A mentally insane person cannot do that, no less. With schizophrenia, the effect of disorder is only on the person that has the disorder, not others. The next reason is the claim to be possessed. Now, authors who have clinical experience between both the demon-possessed and mental illness, they believe those who claim to be possessed are very likely not possessed. Demons wish to be secretive, you see, and they don't voluntarily come up and claim that they're a demon. They'll just act like, oh, I'm just crazy, just acting a fool around here. Nothing to see here, people. Just keep it moving. But a person who's trying to act like they're possessed, oh, they're going to tell you that. They'll say, oh, yeah, it's devil. The devil made me do it and all this so crazy stuff. Now, the next and the last way you can tell the difference is effects of therapy. If prayer solves the problem, then it was probably not schizophrenia. Because, see, you can't just sit up in front of a person who's mentally ill and start praying over them, and they're just going to say, oh, wait a minute, now I'm back to myself. It's not going to happen. They need therapy. They need to see psychiatrists and be evaluated mentally, and they need to take some type of medicines that help stabilize the chemicals in their brain that are causing them to have this mental illness. But a demon, if you start praying over that demon and you do it right, and you're a righteous person, and you have no fear of them, because see, they thrive on fear. But if you are fearless and you pray over them, the Most High will give you the strength to banish them. So that's how you can tell it was a demon. Now, if medicine helps alleviate the problem, it wasn't a demon. It was just mental illness. So that is how you can tell those things, people. Okay? They need holy water. If they are angry or have an aversion to holy water, that's a demon. You throw holy water on someone who's mentally ill, that's not going to make them act crazy or do anything brash or just start, cursing and all of that. That's what a demon does. Okay? So with that all being said, I hope you all enjoyed this story. Right? They open up portals they cannot handle. Absolutely. Absolutely. Marilyn said, whew. Mary says, true. Yes. So with that all being said, everyone, shalom, B1 Queensland, my beautiful sister. Thank you, beloved. Shalom to you as well. So with that all being said, Yahshua's name works all the time. Absolutely, Ashe 77. Yes, it does. And if Ashe's name works and they disappear, the evil spirit leaves, that's how you know it was also a demon. Right? Now with that, this was a good one, Queen. Thank you, Marilyn, beloved. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude this broadcast. I would like to thank you all for tuning back in once again to Queen Ahmadiyyah TV presents the paranormal realm, or beyond the realm. And I will be black in the morning at 9 a.m. with your morning wake-up call. So stay tuned. I hope you all enjoy the rest of this lovely night. And until next time, Royal Family, I will talk to you all again soon.